But Spider-Man. So there's been a lot of detail released of Spider-Man freshman year or Spider-Man, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, whatever Disney's going to call their new show. And a lot of people are just wishing after the revival of X-Men 97 that they would just do Spider-Man 98, which is like the revival of Spider-Man, the animated series back when I was growing up, right? Where the over-the-top actor of "Get back here, Shocker!" Right, that guy, yeah. It was awesome. It was a fun show. It was a silly show. But people are kind of hoping to revive that show, maybe make it a different spin. He found Mary Jane, obviously. If you haven't seen the season 5 ending of Spider-Man, the animated series, where she goes missing in the multiverse, he ends up finding her. And we see that in X-Men 97. That cliffhanger was answered. And I feel like that is a closing out to the show. Now, we're going to compare Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man to Spider-Man 98. Which one would I prefer? Which one does a lot of other people prefer, and why? Now, I wish we could get both. I'm just a huge Spider-Man fan. I'm playing the game again on New Game Plus as of lately. I love it. It's fun. I'm a huge Spidey fan. I got the Superman, Batman, Spider-Man tattoo here. Real quick flex with the camera. Right? Love all that. But it's obvious we're not going to get both because Disney doesn't want to compete with itself on Spider-Man property. Now, wouldn't someone say, oh, well, both would just make a ton of money? It's not like a movie where you can release it at different points of the year, right? In case of a show, people are going to get bored of a show very easily. So the average fan, not the super fan like me, but the average fan, we'll use my girlfriend, for example, right? If I were to say, honey, they're dropping 2 Spider-Man shows on Disney Plus after we watch, say, Spider-Man 98, she's not going to go, babe, we just watched Spider-Man. I don't want to watch another whole Spider-Man show. And keeping in mind, Spider-Man 98 would be a sequel to Spider-Man the Animated Series and would be pushed to a very particular audience of people that have already watched the early show, which does have the nostalgia factor to it, but would also alienate audience that would want to see a brand new Spider-Man show, which Spider-Man, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man provides. However, here's what I'm going to think most people want versus what myself want. I believe most people probably want a revival of Spider-Man 98. I know it sounds weird and contradictory based on what I just said, but I'll tell you why. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is yet again another kinda-ish reboot and another new animation style of Spider-Man, where they're basically just copying Spectacular Spider-Man and Disneyifying it for the MCU. Now, my worry is, this is for the hardcore Spider-Man fans, right? They're just going to try to be Spectacular Spider-Man, but not live up to what that once was. What I mean by that is I know there's different characters, right? I know that I think Harry Osborn has been confirmed and Norman Osborn has been confirmed for the show, but they're doing some stuff a little differently, right? But Spectacular Spider-Man already handled High School Spider-Man, and they did it so well that I just don't see a world where High School Spider-Man can be done again after Tom Holland in the MCU, after Spectacular Spider-Man, right? I think High School Spider-Man has run its course, and I just don't think people want to see Spider-Man in high school anymore. Versus Spider-Man 98, where we get a more adult take on Spider-Man and an adult take on Peter Parker, which, after playing the Spider-Man video games and seeing the sales for that crap, like over 1 million in sales, like the first weekend or something, whatever, right? Like 1 million copies sold. People like adult Spider-Man. Spider-Man 98 would be able to provide an adult Peter Parker. And I think that more people want to see adult Spider-Man because a lot of the fans that loved that show were kids when that came out. And we've grown with Peter. A lot of fans have grown with Peter. And now Spider-Man fans are typically all in adult now, right? Or the classic fans are now adults and can relate more to an adult level Peter Parker, which is why I think besides the gameplay being amazing, why the game did so well on a story basis, was we got adult Peter Parker. It's harder for me to relate to high school Peter Parker now that I'm a 24-year-old adult paying bills. It's more easy to relate to that Peter Parker now. I've grown with the character. So I think that a lot of people, including myself, A, there's the nostalgia hit of what Spider-Man 98 can do, but B, you can tell adult stories. I'm not saying like it has to be for adults. Obviously, kids will like Spider-Man and will like all that stuff, right? But as far as like the high school stuff, we have Spectacular Spider-Man. We've had Marvel Spider-Man that just recently did it. It was an animated show that didn't do so well a couple of years ago. Like, I didn't watch it completely, but I've heard around it. You had MCU Spider-Man of him being in high school. I think it's time to take a shift. And what better way to take a shift than ride the success of X-Men 97 and do it with Spider-Man 98? Now, if they do, I'm not saying Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man will be bad. I actually think it'll be very good. I just don't know if, again, it's going to be compared to Spectacular Spider-Man, and I don't think that's a comparison that show wins. I don't. I think that Spider-Man 98 ultimately will get better praise from critics and more appreciation from fans if I was putting my bet on it and what would make more money. Also, when you think of what will make more money, people are going to look at Spider-Man 98 and go, oh, I remember that. Oh, that seemed familiar to me. Let me check that out. Oh, it's a new Spider-Man show. That kind of looks right. Versus Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, where a lot of people are going to be like, oh, new Spider-Man show. I think that if you're going to do one or the other, continuing the universe of X-Men 97 and advancing a new, maybe animated universe can put Marvel in a great direction, because now that opens the door to continuing the Marvel animated universe, right? And that larger scale there versus trying to enhance the MCU with an animated thing that you now have to, you're limited on what you can do because you have to cross it into the MCU. I just think that you can tell so much better Spider-Man stories without having to worry about being tied to the MCU and this and that if you just do Spider-Man 98.